Hi everyone, it's the weekend. This is Sam. Today I'm going to be showing you some fried chicken sandwiches. Now these chickens, they're chicken tender fillets that I brined overnight in pickle juice. So it's going to be reminiscent of a very popular chicken chain sandwiches. Now what I do is my kids, especially my daughter, likes pickles a lot. So every time I get a jar of pickles, I'll save the pickle juice. That includes pepperoncini pickles, jalapeno pickles, other pickles, and I'll just collect them in a jar in the fridge, like I did with this one. And so I bought a couple packages of chicken tender fillets, and they've just been soaking in this pickle juice overnight. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to drain these chicken tenders from the juice. Now they've got this interesting greenish yellow tint from sitting in that pickle juice overnight. Okay, now what I'll do with these is I've laid some paper towels here. Now we want these chicken tenders to kind of be relatively dried out before we apply a breading to them for our frying purposes. Okay, so you see we got these chicken tenders, and I'm going to take some more paper towels and I'm just going to pat these nice and dry. Okay, and I've also got the oven preheating. I set it at 315. That's going to be for the buns for these chicken sandwiches, get them a little crispy, and we're also going to have American cheese, so we're going to get some melted action on that American cheese. Okay, all right. Let me set this aside. There's a little segue here where I'm going to be making a beverage, an adult beverage for the summer. You may be familiar with the Moscow Mule. Moscow Mule comes with vodka and ginger beer and some lime juice. That's essentially it. So let me make sure my hands are not contaminated with that chicken. So I'm going to wash them with some soap here. Okay, so here I got some vodka. It's a fine vodka from Sweden. I do like the Stoli, but I'd prefer to get a product from Sweden than Russia. I'm not sure exactly why. Here's some ginger beer I got at the market. Now this is non-alcoholic. Of course, with the marriage to the vodka, it will become definitively a alcoholic drink. And we have these copper mugs, which are ideal for the Moscow Mules. They tend to hold on to temperature, so when you get these nice and cold, it'll be a nice and cold experience for the drinker. What else? Here you see some lime I've halved. So with these limes, you just want to, I'm going to make two Moscow Mules, one for myself while I work on these chicken sandwiches, and one for my lovely wife who's waiting patiently for this drink outside in the nice summer weather. All right, so I'm just squeezing out the lime juice here. Okay, so we got a nice little container here of the freshly squeezed lime juice. Now you want ice to make sure it's really cold, because these ginger beers are from the shelf and they're not that cold. So we've got this nice large cube, kind of deluxe ice cube tray. I believe I got it from the Sharp Image at one point. We also have ones that are completely spherical, so they're always fun for your guests. Look at this large cube here. So drop that in. Looks like 1 cube each should be fine. Okay, so let's start out with the alcoholic element to see how much we're going to throw in there. Now I'm going to put a generous amount in mine, probably at least a quarter cup. And my wife's, I'll make it a little bit lighter. Okay. Now let's put in some of the lime juice. I'm just going to put 1, 2, 3, 4 dashes in each of these. Okay. And top it off with that ginger beer. Okay. Cheers. Refreshing. Sit tight 1 second. I'm going to deliver this to my wife. All right. Thanks for waiting. Okay, back to the main dish, the fried chicken sandwich. Now, as I mentioned, these have been brined in pickle juice overnight. Now, you're probably familiar with brining and its purpose. It's twofold. One is to make the protein more tender. After you cook it, it'll be more tender. And often it's to infuse some sort of flavor to the protein. Here, obviously, it's dill pickle. You just have to try this out and see for yourself. But the dill marinade has some pretty awesome effects. Okay. All right. So I have 1 egg. So I'm going to crack that egg open and just mix it up here. I should note we probably have about 2 pounds of chicken tenders. You know the size, they're just these strips. And what I have here, is the bowl of the egg yolk, and then I've got some breading, some batter breading. So this is made up of just a regular flour, some cornstarch, and I've lightly seasoned with paprika and cayenne pepper and some salt and pepper. All right, and so over here I have a fry pan, which I've added kind of, not a deep fry, but probably about 2/3 of an inch of peanut oil. I've been on a peanut oil kick for a while with the fried foods and the fried chicken and falafels. Just gives it that nice nutty flavor, inspired by Gus's fried chicken, if you don't know them. Okay, so let me turn on the fry pan. I'll put it at about kind of a medium-high heat. All right. So the method we're going to be using is, all right, let's dip these chicken into the eggs. Now, you might be familiar with a Japanese dish, which is a rice bowl with some, some nicely spiced sautéed chicken, and then covered with egg on top. So it's just a hearty chicken bowl with egg, chicken and egg bowl. And the Japanese have a playful term for that. It's called oyakodon. Oya means parents in Japanese, ko means child. So they're referring to the chicken and the egg as the parent and child, and don refers to the rice bowl. I thought that was always kind of cute. And here we have oyako fried chicken tenders, essentially. Okay, so all I'm doing is I am dipping these tenders into the egg bath, the egg wash. Then I'm dredging them through the batter mix. Okay, and just keep doing these. All right. Okay. Now, my son is finicky. He doesn't like, well, one, he doesn't like hamburgers. Two, he doesn't like chicken sandwiches. However, he does like chicken tenders. So often, also when I go to chicken restaurant for takeout, I'll get the chicken sandwiches that we all love, except for my son. But I'll also get some chicken nuggets or tenders, and he eats them up. And obviously, always get fries. My son and my daughter just love the fries, as does any red-blooded American. Okay, so I'm almost done battering these chicken tender fillets. Okay, and that 2-pound batch of chicken tenders and the one egg, the egg wash was almost perfect. You could see, if you could see, the egg is essentially mostly gone here. Okay, so oyako is almost ready for frying. Okay, so we have a lot of extra batter here that I'm just tossing the chicken around to make sure getting in all those nooks and crannies of these chicken tenders. Okay, so here you can see this thing is ready to fry up. Let me wash my hands. And what we're going to do, which is something I've tried my most recent batches of frying up these chicken tenders, we're going to double fry them, meaning that we're going to lightly fry them once, essentially to an almost done level. And, it'll probably be, I kind of eyeball these, but it'll kind of be, maybe 2 to 3 minutes aside, turning them once. Then I'll set them aside, work on a second batch, and do the same. And then bring the first batch that I fried back into the hot oil and start frying those. All right, so let me bring you closer to the fry pan here. Okay, so got a large fry pan with a healthy amount level of the peanut oil. And I have 2 plates set aside here for the 2 batches of chicken tenders. So let us start throwing these into the hot oil. Alright, so you can see they're immediately frying up. And there's enough in there it's quasi deep fried, almost deep fried. Let's say it's half deep fried. Alright, I've already filled up that pan, so we're indeed going to be making 2 batches here. Alright. All right, just cleaning up the countertop a little bit. When you're making a batter for fried chicken, you tend to get a little bit messy on the countertop. So I'm going to take some more of this nice Moscow Mule. Okay, and I like to kind of carefully, of course, kind of shake the oil around so it kind of goes on the sides and the top as well of the fried chicken tenders. All right. Let's see if these should be flipped yet. Yeah, why not? It's starting to get like a crispy crust, but as you can see, it's not golden. But it is crispy. We'll get the golden element to these on the second time around when we're frying. Now there's some dark pieces here. That is only because I actually fried up some bacon strips in the same pan before adding the peanut oil, and I didn't clean it out. But that bacon strip will, the bacon grease and the bits will give it extra flavor. But if you don't want those little dark aspects to your fried chicken, obviously you would clean out the pan before of the bacon, in my case, before adding your oil. And I mentioned again, I'm using peanut oil. You can use any other vegetable oil, like you could actually use olive oil. You can use canola oil, but fry them out. You may notice I'm using a gas range. Very good to have. I'm not going to say it's essential, but I feel like it's essential from cooking. Some people, just with housing situations, obviously you work with what you have, so you might have the electric range. Okay. All right. So we probably got 2 to 3 minutes aside on these, so I'm going to pull these out, let them rest, let the grease soak into this towel on the paper plate. And immediately add the new batch, or second and final batch of oyako. Okay. Alright, a lot of wasted batter, unfortunately. Cannot be helped, at least. You don't need to get too scientific with proportions. Okay, so I'm going to bring you back to the prep table. I think you got a good sense of the fry. All right, here we are back at the prep table. And I've gone ahead and prepared everything else that we're going to need to package these sandwiches. So I'm going to have some tomato, onion, some bacon, and some pickled jalapenos. Sometimes I do double up pickled jalapenos and dill spears, sliced dill spears. But I think we should be okay with just one or the other. And I have some coleslaw here that I made for another recipe that you might recall during my roast corned beef and chicken day, and some baby arugula in lieu of lettuce in the sandwich. So I'm actually I'm not going to be putting the coleslaw and arugula in each sandwich. I'm making 2 different sandwiches, one of each, so we can sample it. All right, let me turn these fried chicken here. Okay, while I do that, I'm going to start adding in phase 2 of the other batch that's been resting. Obviously, you have to kind of keep track of which ones you're doing and how much. Okay, I'm going to pull the second batch, let them rest before they go back into the fry pan. and put the rest of the first batch in. So we're working on the final second fry of the batch number 1. And I'm adding some more clean paper towel here to absorb the new grease from the chicken. Okay, other things. Here's the bun. I got some Hawaiian buns for this. They're sweet Hawaiian buns. You know, Kaiser rolls are nice. Ciabatta can be good. So go with your preference there. You might want to try different things. What I'm going to do now is start throwing these into the oven to get them nice and warm and crispy or toasty. So let me add, this is just regular American cheese. I'm going to put these on the tops of the buns. And we're going to throw these into the oven while we're finishing the final touches on this fried chicken. Again, I preheated the oven to 315. It's not going to take much to get these buns toasted up and the cheese melty. Probably 5 to 10 minutes. But you certainly want to make sure that you're not going to burn them. I'm going to add a little foil for the ones with cheese so that they don't drip into the oven. Let me flip these. Now these are pretty golden brown at this point. Now remember, this is batch 1. That's getting the second fry. Batch 1 Oya. Oyako. Alright. Hot oven. Got some foil here. Alright, now I'm going to put the buns with the cheese. I'll just put them right on the foil. Probably could have put them above the rack above the foil and let the foil catch any dripping cheese, but this should be fine as well. And then the bottoms I'm going to put directly on the rack above. Alright, so I got 6 buns here with the cheese. Okay. Alright, batch 1 of Oyako should be essentially done. Wanted to show you this. Look at this nice golden brown chicken tender. How does that look to you? Alright, come on out. Now these are fairly large chicken tenders. Just thinking through the logistics and size of the sandwiches as I put on batch 2 of the Oyako. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have 12 tenders. We're making 6 sandwiches. You know, so probably put like 1.5 tender per sandwich. You know, being cognizant of my son who wants some naked chicken tenders, not in a sandwich. But as you'll shortly see, we'll play it by ear and see how much we want to put into these. And the bun, again, and these buns are pretty small as well. Let me just get a large surface. Use this large cutting board to start assembling these sandwiches. All right. Oh, one thing we have to make is the dressing for the sandwiches. I'm just turning batch 2. So you can see I'm doing kind of a juggling act, which is kind of like the essence of cooking. You're juggling different balls in the air. All right, so we want to make a dressing. Now I'm going to make essentially a mayonnaise-based dressing. Here you see some light mayo. I'm just going to throw, we have 6 sandwiches. So I'll throw about half a cup of mayo in this bowl. Looks like we're running out. Okay. Now, you might recognize this as sriracha. I'm going to put some sriracha in here. All right. And this is something I'm experimenting with. This is a ponzu sauce. You might be familiar with ponzu sauce if you've had the raw fish poke bowls. Oftentimes they use a ponzu sauce as a dressing for those poke bowls. Now the ponzu is essentially, it incorporates Japanese citrus elements with some dried fish, the bonito flakes essence with the soy sauce. So it's pretty pungent and strong. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that. And why don't I add some pepper to this as well? Black pepper, regular black pepper. Mix this up. Okay. Now you are witnessing the first time this sauce is being used in a chicken sandwich, at least to my knowledge. It's nice, it's subtle. I think it'll be good. It'll add a nice element to this chicken sandwich. All right, so batch 2 is essentially done. Looking at the buns, they're starting to get toasted. I think we are ready to go. So let me pull these. Let's pull batch 2. Now this leftover oil, after it cools down, I'll get a metal strainer, a fine strainer, and I'll strain that oil through the strainer and put it in the strained oil into a jar and recycle that oil and use it, at least probably 3 or 4 times. Should be okay. But it's good if you're straining the oil and wanting to reuse it. It's good to put that oil in a container and put it in the fridge if you have the space. Okay. All right. So here we have everything but the buns. Okay. I think these are good to go. All right. Let me pull these caps with the cheese. All right. There we go. And the toasted bottoms. All right, let's put these together. All right. All right, so let's make this assembly line style. So we're making 3 with the coleslaw and 3 with the baby arugula. So these are the bottoms and here are the tops. So let me just correspond these. And make some lateral space here for the other one. Okay. First I'm going to apply this sriracha ponzu mayo to the bottom of all these buns. Now, don't be surprised if you don't see some sort of variant of the sandwich surface in possible restaurants such as Market Fresh. As I'm doing some collaborative thinking and with my relatives at Market Fresh, and they're launching actually this week. And you know, one of their first sandwich items is a quinoa, so it's a vegetarian, a quinoa burger. But you know, I'm in talks with, you know, Market Fresh, and we're thinking about collaborating for some other sandwiches, such as the chicken sandwich. Okay. All right, so let's add the chicken. So you can see the size of these. It's essentially taking up all the real estate on these small buns. All right. And looking at what's remaining, I actually just made an executive decision. I'm going to kind of cut each of these in two, and they're going to fit nicely. These two segments are going to fit nicely on these smaller patties. If you had larger patties, you'd probably want to go with 2 tenders per bun. But these are almost like fat sliders. So fat oyako sliders, essentially. All right, so we got the chicken. Let's put on some tomato. All right, putting on some tomato. Not putting them all uniformly, but hey, that's okay. Okay. All right. Now we have some raw onions. I'm a big fan of raw onions. Some people are not, and some people are not fans of onions in any way, shape, or form or consistency. Our household does like the raw onions, so here they're going on every sandwich here. Okay. All right. Now we have the jalapenos, pickled jalapenos. Now these are pretty mild. There's a preparation called tame pickled jalapenos that we like to get. So you don't have to worry about them being too spicy. Okay. I went all out and I fried up some thick cut bacon, which we had left over from some other recipes. So putting half of a bacon on each of those. And so for these top ones, let's put on some arugula, some baby arugula. Remember, this was in lieu of lettuce. Kind of adds a little level of sophistication. Okay, I'm gonna add some more sauce on the top. Cap these off. These are done. Done and looking delectable. And for this batch variation number 2, just gonna put a little coleslaw in there. And again, add some of the sriracha ponzu mayonnaise to this. It looks like we essentially made the right batch level of the mayonnaise as well. All right, so this is what you're looking at. This is the pickle brined chicken tender cooked in peanut oil with bacon on a sweet Hawaiian roll with coleslaw, summer coleslaw. And this is the same with a bed of arugula. It may be reminiscent of a deluxe chicken sandwich you might have seen at a popular chicken chain. All right, so let me get to the final point and try this out. That is awesome. Of course, I have to try the coleslaw one as well. Mmm. That's so good. I hope you enjoy this, and a final cheers to you. Enjoy your week or your weekend. Take care.